to another video blog. My name is Mike, and I run this channel, OBDM Videos. In this segment, or this vlog, I'll be talking about the OBDM Podcast, a video game I have recently played, and a television series, or, I don't know, it's not a television series, it's a streaming series on Hulu. For those of you who have subscribed to the channel or happen to buy this video, I host a podcast called Our Big Dumb Mouth. We cover news, conspiracies, paranormal stuff, all that crazy crap. And well, we've been doing it for about 10 years. And recently, I would say probably the past, maybe 3 or 4 months, we've had a lot more Skype guests. People would call in. James Evan Pilato from New World Next Week, Media Monarchy, called in. We had a nice hour-long conversation. We had a person who runs the Mox News YouTube channel. He does a lot of archival stuff. He will comb news footage and CNN footage and all that kind of stuff and repost it to YouTube. A lot of interesting conversations. And if you listen to the past few podcasts, we've had very little call in, very few interviews. And it's not like we couldn't find any more people to talk to. We just kind of decided to roll back the interviews a little bit, because I feel as though some of our stronger shows are when we don't have anybody on. It's just when it is myself, Joe, and Clown Baby talking about the news, goofing around, and trying to make each other laugh. I think some of those are our stronger shows, and that why we haven't asked any more people on, really. It's not like the interviews are boring or non-informative. It's a dramatic turn from what we've done in the past 10 years, having people come on to talk about a specific item of news. Interesting. That might be something for like a different podcast, and that might be a separate show. I would definitely have a second show if the downloads warrant it, but as of right now, it looks like we're gonna have a lot fewer Skype-in guests. With that being said, though, I've been holding this drink. I probably should drink it. I got a little bogey hair down there. My dog. With that being said, I am talking to Greg Carlwood of Higher Side Chats, the Higher Side Chats podcast, a very popular podcast about paranormal topics, conspiracy theories, secret societies, magic, rituals, all that crazy shit. And Greg goes pretty deep with it. He has a lot of people on his show. He is primarily, from what I've heard, and I've listened to quite a few episodes, it's an interview show. And so he can spend that an hour and a half talking about one particular subject, and he does it very well. And he tends to go very deep with each subject that he tackles. I think one of the most recent episodes, he had a fellow on. I don't remember his name. He had a fella. And they're talking about the entertainment business, the entertainment industry, and some of the conspiracies around that, and the nefarious nature of doing business with the entertainment industry. Pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to talking to Greg, and hopefully we'll be able to line that up this next month in September. After that, maybe we'll have one interview a month. Don't know. It depends on what we feel like. I downloaded Titanfall 2, the tech test. I guess it's testing the network stress and how well it performs on people's consoles. You could only download it, I believe, for Xbox One and PS4. And I downloaded it because I was a big fan. Okay, not a big fan. I was a lukewarm fan of Titanfall 1. This is a game where you're a pilot. You can jump into a giant mech, kind of like Robotech or Mech Warrior, and then you can go around the map and try to destroy your enemies. It's exactly like Call of Duty, but with robots. And there's some more dynamic gameplay because your character's going to run and jump and all that kind of stuff. Now, I like Titanfall 1, but then the DLC came out. I couldn't keep up, and then sooner or later, you can't play with people because you didn't have the newest maps. I think they're fixing it this time around in Titanfall 2. Now, during this tech test of Titanfall 2, I was hoping that I would see some stuff that I wish they had in the first one. Mainly, these mechs, these giant robots that you're in, should be able to destroy any person, any other little pilot or guy on the screen in 1 to 2 shots. It's like if you're sitting in a battleship, and if your battleship had legs and walking around firing giant 30mm cannons at people, it would obliterate them. But I didn't get that sense of destruction and complete overall annihilation in Titanfall 1. And I'm not getting it in Titanfall 2. I'm not seeing that scale of destruction. It should be almost complete. That should be part of the challenge of the game. If you happen to get in one of these badass mechs, you should be able to wall up and destroy anything you see. I don't see it happening. I understand they have to worry about game balance and that kind of stuff. I just haven't seen it yet. Another issue I had with Titanfall 1 that I was hoping that they would address in Titanfall 2 is the fact that these mechs, like I said, they're giant, they're mammoth. I'm going to say they weigh well over 1,400 pounds, well over that. These things are giant, and with an enormous size. If they happen to run into a wall or a building, it should create some kind of structural damage, and that structural damage to buildings, they can fall, it would rearrange the map, kind of like what happens in Battlefield when you can blow up buildings in Battlefield, especially in Bad Company 2. You could completely level the map if you wanted to. I'm not seeing that in Titanfall 2. I understand that they're using a different gaming engine. I think they're still using a Source engine. Battlefield has the Frostbite engine. I just think it's a misstep when they had a couple years to develop this and they're not adding that level of destruction into the game. It still feels and it kind of plays like it's the very first game they put out 2 years ago. There's not that much difference. They added a grappling hook? Okay, they added some more weapons. All right. Does it warrant $60 from me to play? Probably not at this point. I know I'm judging it on the 2 maps and the 3 modes that I played thus far. And maybe that's unfair for me to do, but this is all I have. And I'm critiquing it as such. I understand they said up front all the features and little elements in this tech test are not indicative of the final game, so please don't judge it. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? I'm judging it. Because I'm disappointed just in the lack of destruction. And I'm disappointed with how easily your Titan can be taken out by a stupid little man with a grappling hook. Gets on top of you, takes out your exposed reactor core or your energy core, and then throws a grenade in there. Your mechs, it's almost better off like you don't have one. It seems like they're slow, they're cumbersome, they don't kill anything right away. They can take a few damage, but if you get teamed up on, you're fucked. I don't know what the point of this game is. I don't know what additional content they're bringing in Titanfall 2 that wasn't really addressed in Titanfall 1. Is this Titanfall 2 10% better, 20% better? Maybe. It could be. But is it worth $60? Well, they're adding a campaign this time. Last time they charged $60. Maybe it was $50, and they didn't have a single player campaign. We'll see. I'm just frustrated because I like the people at Respawn. I guess I don't know them personally, but I like what they did with the Call of Duty series, and I'm hoping to get some of that innovation that they had with that series over here in Titanfall. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing it's Call of Duty, but with robots and a few other things. I understand they're trying to make it an arcade shooter, and they want to make it fast and fun, but I didn't find it fun. It's not fun. It's not funny. Didn't have a good time. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is a series on Hulu called 11/22/63. It is, I think, an 8-part series, 8 to 9-part series that is based after a Stephen King book named the same thing, 11/22/63. It is about a man who finds a time portal in a diner that takes him back to the 1960s, or specifically October 1960. Now, every time you go back to October 1960, you have to live out your life, and you can stay there as long as you want. But every time you decide to come back to the present, let's say you stay back in 1960 for 1 year. Well, when you come back next time, only 2 minutes will have passed in the present. And then when you go back again, everything resets. You go back to the exact same time in October 1960. And this whole series takes place around trying to stop the JFK assassination. And I think this is the first time that Stephen King has tried to address time travel. And I think he said it's going to be the last. But it's a very, very interesting series. I'm a huge fan of time travel, and this is what attracted me to watch this. James Franco stars in it. I think he does actually a pretty good job. It's very compelling. They do a hell of a job with all the costumes, the cars, the environments, the music, everything. You actually kind of feel like it's in the 1960s. It's actually a really nice period piece for the 1960s, and there's some interesting things that go on in this series, and how hard it is, the character that James Franco plays, how hard he finds it that sometimes when you try to change the past kind of pushes back in a certain way. There's a lot of cursing. Not a lot. Not as much as I curse. There's some cursing. Infrequent cursing compared to me. All right, well, I think that's all I have time for. Remember, if you have 9 hours, this show, 11/22/63, may be worth it, kind of, almost. I am not going to say either way if you should see it. If you like time travel, watch it. If not, then maybe you should watch something else that's on TV. And I'm not going to tell you what. I'm not going to make any suggestions to you. And Titanfall 2, I'm bitching a lot about nothing because it's not even out yet, and I'm totally jumping the gun on complaining about it. I'll wait till October when it comes out, and I'll complain about it again there. Okay? All right. Bye, guys, and I will talk to you all later.
Excuse me.